Watching WSLS 10 News.
Anybody else in that position, if it wasn't OJ, then it would be people will look at it differently.
After 9 years in prison, O.J. Simpson will soon be a free man. How people in Virginia are reacting.
A new scam targeting hundreds of moms across the country, including here in Virginia. The warning signs you need to know about. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jenna Zibton.
And I'm Patrick McKee. Happy Friday to you. Made it to the end of the week, and this heat, it's still here.
Take a live look at Blacksburg from our Virginia Tech Skycam, where Jonathan, things will be another hot, muggy day ahead.
It really will, Jenna. Yeah, temperatures getting back to the lower 90s across much of the New River Valley. Middle 90s elsewhere. Going to be another very hot day. Maybe the hottest day so far when you factor in the heat and humidity in terms of how it actually feels outside. We're going to be closing in, if not exceeding, the century mark in a lot of spots. Temperatures already in the mid 70s right now in Roanoke. Good morning in South Boston. We are at 73 degrees, 66 in Hot Springs. Also that mark for us waking up in Blacksburg and in Hillsville this morning. A few showers and storms trying to get going to our west. That's where they will stay for the moment. Later on this afternoon, we will bubble up our own scattered showers and thunderstorms. A few of those could be on the stronger side. Those will be few and far between, though. It's the heat that's affecting everybody. 87 by 11, 96 by 3. And that's when we'll start to dodge a few scattered showers and thunderstorms. We'll break down those chances of storms for you coming up in the next 8 minutes, guys.
Reaction continues this morning as O.J. Simpson prepares to serve his last few months in prison. The one-time NFL star was granted parole after spending nearly 9 years in prison for a 2007 armed robbery in Las Vegas. Simpson was visibly relieved and emotional. He served the minimum of a 9 to 33-year sentence in Nevada. The hearing with the parole board lasted over an hour. The now 70-year-old apologized for his actions.
I've always thought I've been pretty good with people, and I've basically spent a conflict-free life. You know, I'm not a guy that ever got into fights on the street and with the public and everybody.
New this morning, people across the Commonwealth have mixed reactions to the ruling. Some say he served his time. Others argue a harsh sentence for the robbery was appropriate since he got off on double murder charges in 1995.
He's done his time for the crime that he, committed and he was charged for. Let him be.
He's done.
You think that's good?
Sure. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do now?
I just don't think he's regretful for anything he's done, whether it was that incident or other incidents.
Simpson could be released as early as October 1st.
Former Massey Energy CEO Don Blankenship is back in West Virginia this morning after a year in prison. He was the first high-ranking corporate executive to do prison time for a workplace safety incident. During his trial, prosecutors accused Blankenship of covering up safety allegations that led to the 2010 Upper Big Branch mine explosion that took the lives of 29 men. After 9 days of deliberations, the jury came back with a guilty verdict on conspiring to violate safety standards.
They did not do what they're accused of doing. They maintained the mine extremely well. They were the victims of two things. One was the natural gas coming in a surprising volume, and the fact that the government had reduced the air in half.
Blankenship has appealed his misdemeanor conviction on conspiring to violate safety standards to the U.S. Supreme Court. A decision is expected by the High Court by the end of the month.
New this morning, hundreds of moms across the country, including here in Virginia, say they have been scammed out of thousands of dollars. The women all joined a moms group on Facebook called Z's Place, expecting bargain prices on everything from baby car seats to diapers and toys. It was reportedly run by a 23-year-old in Cleveland who said she could offer great deals thanks to donations and grants. But in most cases, the goods were never delivered. Women started asking for refunds and say that's when the excuses started.
I'm an educated woman. I have my degree. I should have known better than this, but my friend got her stuff.
She always did this stuff where she was in the hospital.
She was in and out of consciousness.
She was going to have surgery.
One thing after another would go wrong with her.
It's just excuse after excuse.
There are hundreds of victims tracked to 34 states and Canada. Last month, Cleveland police removed toys and baby items from the seller's home. She has not been charged with a crime, but an investigation is underway.
The Pulaski Post Office is now closed. The U.S. Postal Service issued an emergency suspension closing the building for safety reasons. This came as a surprise for many people who live there. Less than 24 hours before the closure, people learned they will now have to travel 7 miles to the nearest post office in Dublin.
It galls me to no ends because they just drop it on you like a bomb, and it's obvious that they well planned this in advance. They have letters ready for you and contingency plans.
A specific reason was not cited, but the Postal Service says it will check for mold along with other issues inside the 100-year-old building.
New this morning, a Nelson County Music Festival is returning for the 5th year, but the event will look a little different. The Lock-In Music Festival changed its venue, and organizers are changing the way the event is staffed. Organizers expect half the crowd this year and reduce the number of gates. Wintergreen Fire and Rescue will not be providing emergency medical services after submitting the same proposal as last year, and that's caused tension.
Their initial bid that they put in didn't reflect the needs of the show or the venue or the amount of people that we're projecting are coming this year. So, and they were really slow to change that and react to that, and it was very begrudging.
Lock-In organizers say they have not made a final decision yet, but Wintergreen, who has worked the last 4 years, is no longer being considered.
6:36 now, and thousands of people visit the Blue Ridge region every summer to hike the trail.
While many hikers come prepared with water and some safety equipment, it's often difficult to know exactly what you will need out on the trail.
WSLS 10's Aaron Brookshire joining us now live this morning from McAfee's Knobs. Aaron, one of the most important things to bring in this heat, especially like we've seen the past couple of weeks, is water. Just how much do people need to bring with them?
Yeah, that's right. It's important to bring enough water to make it to the top all the way back down. My photographer Drew and I are on the trail. We're barely 20 feet from the road right now, and you can see how tough it is already. There are roots, there are rocks, you've got to climb up. So that's why it's important to bring so much water. Rescue crews I spoke with say you should bring about a quart for every 2 miles, which equals out to one of these standard size water bottles for every mile. Now a hike like this, McAfee Knob, is about 4.4 miles up, 4.4 miles back, which means you should be bringing about 8 or 9 of these standard water bottles if you plan to do a hike like this. And it's important to stay hydrated, as you all mentioned, especially in the humid, the hot weather we've seen. That's why hikers should bring up enough water to make sure they can refill, have drinks on the way down. Kimberly Roscoe was here with a group that hiked it, that camped at McAfee Knob overnight, and she says when they started packing for the trip, they knew most of their weight would be in water.
The walk is hard. It's pretty strenuous. It's mostly uphill going up, so you're exerting yourself, and it's really hot, so you're sweating and your throat gets dry, like you can't swallow.
When you start packing for your hike, don't forget about the kiddos and the dogs if you plan to bring them along, as well as the entire family will need plenty of water. It's also important to have a plan, research your hike, and know how long it takes to make the journey and just how difficult it's going to be.
You want to bring a map or a GPS or some way of knowing where you're at and where you're going. That's one of the key things that we run into is a lot of people, they come in to hike one of the beautiful trails that we have, don't realize either how far it is or where they need to turn around at and which direction they need to get back from.
And it's also important to communicate your plan to family members or friends. Let them know where you're going to be hiking, what time you plan on hiking, and when you should be back. That way, if something happens out on the trail, you can't call for help. They can let emergency crews know where you are, Jenna and Patrick.
Now, Aaron, maps are really important. There are paper maps that you can get at outdoor stores around here, but a lot of people rely on their phones. Is that an okay option?
It is an okay option. It's also a good idea to take a screenshot of that just in case something happens. You don't have service out on the trails because you never know what your phone service is going to be like. So obviously maps are the best option. And Jenna, as you mentioned, you can get those at a lot of local hiking stores. You can also print those off online, and those are durable. You know they'll always be with you whether you have cell phone service or not.
And a lot of these places pretty rural, so you know you're going to lose service in some of them.
Yeah, Aaron and Ed, thank you so much for all this good advice. So what we always do is look ahead of time, look on the map, see what it looks like, so at least we kind of have a general idea of what we're walking into.
Good idea right there. 6:40 now. Let's hand things back over to Jonathan with an update on this forecast. And you're definitely going to need a lot of water if you're heading out hiking today. It's going to be hot.
Oh, it's going to be so hot. Yeah, double up the water again if you're heading out to the pool, heading out to the hiking today. Blacksburg, live look with our Virginia Tech Skycam. Temperatures now in the mid-60s. Winds are calm. That stagnant air mass is keeping things, adding to the humidity, adding to the comfort level, being way down. Dew points are in the mid-60s. Again, when that number comes up, that's the more uncomfortable you feel, and that number is going to continue to rise again today. Heat indices at times approaching the century mark. Here is this cold front we've been advertising. This eventually going to give us that relief, but we have to wait until Tuesday. This is also going to be a trigger mechanism for these storms. Ahead of the front again today, we are in the middle 90s. Again, tomorrow this front sags a little further south. That's going to help to increase storm chances. We're still not behind that front though, so it's going to still be on the very hot and humid side. Again, that front doesn't cross us until Monday. We start to feel the effects on Tuesday. Over the weekend, again, we're going to be dodging scattered showers and thunderstorms. A few of these could be on the stronger side. Temperatures, again, tomorrow still in the mid-90s. That'll be day number 13 of 90, day number 14 to follow. That'll beat our longest stretch from last year by a couple of days, and we'll add 15 on Monday. This afternoon, again, a chance for a few scattered storms. Temperatures back into the middle 90s. Tonight, we are warm, we are muggy. We're back to the upper 60s and low to mid 70s across the area. Over the next few days, again, more of the same. 95 on Saturday. Again, dodging scattered showers and thunderstorms. A few of these could be strong to severe over Saturday night and into Sunday morning. We're tracking a few thunderstorm complexes sliding on through, so we're going to dodge those overnight. 93 on Sunday, still in the 90s on Monday. We'll have a good coverage area of storms on Monday. Behind that front, that is the light at the end of the tunnel. 86 degrees on Tuesday, mid to upper 80s Wednesday and Thursday. Average this time of the year is 87 degrees. There we go. Here's an awesome picture from Heather Edwards. This is a towering cumulus,
nice tower.
Cumulus congestus, whatever you want to call them, get science-y. Gorgeous looking shot. These were from the storms that were around the area on Monday, taken in Christiansburg. You might have an opportunity to take some of these pictures again over the next couple of days. It's going to be kind of stormy, guys.
I'll just go with fluffy clouds.
Fluffy clouds, that's good. Cauliflower look, big cauliflower.
Oh yeah,
I can
see that.
A bubble.
Email
Love
us
it.
your pictures, news@WSLS.com, and you may see them right here on Virginia Today.
Yeah, we're going to break down the heat and look closer at those storm chances over the next few days, coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, 6:42 now. Let's take a look at time saver traffic this morning, where the green's still showing up for us. We've got some of your typical slowdowns. It looks like around Martinsville, Rocky Mount, Lynchburg, and Bedford starting to develop for us this morning. But right now, no accidents on area roadways.
New revelations come on the heels of a stunning interview with President Trump by the New York Times. The warning being issued to special counsel by Robert Mueller.
A second debate in Virginia's closely watched governor's race is now scheduled. What to expect as Republican Ed Gillespie and Democrat Ralph Northam face off.
High-speed. You're watching WSLS 10 News.
It's 6:46 on your Friday morning. Welcome back to Virginia Today. I'm Jenna Zibton.
And I'm Patrick McKee. There are new reports this morning that President Donald Trump's legal team is looking at potential conflicts of interest within Special Counselor Robert Mueller's investigative team and potential pardons for relatives and White House staff. Mueller's tasked with determining if the president's campaign coordinated with Russia during the last election. NBC's Sarah Dolph has the story.
Investigating the investigators. This morning, news that the president's legal team is evaluating potential conflicts of interest among aides on Robert Mueller's team, possibly in an effort to undercut their work. The president issuing a warning to Mueller during an interview with the New York Times.
Mueller was looking at your finances, your family's finances, unrelated to Russia. Is that a red line?
Would that be a breach of what his actual...
I would say yes. Yeah, I would say yes.
And according to a new Washington Post report, the president is now inquiring about his pardoning powers when it comes to aides, family members, even himself. Senator Mark Warner says in a statement, pardoning any individuals who may have been involved would be crossing a fundamental line. It all comes on the heels of the New York Times interview, where Trump took aim not only at Robert Mueller, but also Attorney Jeff Sessions for recusing himself from the Russia investigation.
He should have told me before he took the job, and I would have picked somebody else.
Sessions yesterday.
We love this job, we love this department, and I plan to continue to do so as long as that is appropriate.
The White House says President Trump still has confidence in his AG.
I think you know this president well enough to know that if he wanted somebody
to take an action, he would make that quite clear.
Jeff, I know you're going to do a fantastic job.
A once rock-solid relationship now split by controversy surrounding the Russia investigation. Sarah Dolph, NBC News, Washington.
Virginia Democratic leaders are traveling the Commonwealth talking about the GOP gubernatorial candidate Ed Gillespie's relationship with the Trump administration. In Charlottesville, they discussed what the Democrats call threats to Virginia's economy, health care, and working families. Senator Creed Deeds says Virginia benefits from the Affordable Care Act, and Gillespie should not side with President Trump on the need to repeal it.
Virginia would lose GAP funding. Virginia would lose, I think, $1.2 billion over the course of a few years with Medicaid funding, and that's inevitably going to take the bottom out of our care for behavioral health for low-income individuals.
Ed Gillespie's campaign says it is remarkable for Democrats to be attacking him and, quote, "It's clear that Ed wants to lead Virginia and Ralph Northam wants to lead the resistance."
A date is set for the second debate in the closely watched race for Virginia's governor. The Northern Virginia Chamber of Commerce says the debate will take place on September 19th, with NBC's Chuck Todd of Meet the Press moderating the discussion. The first debate is set for this Saturday in Hot Springs. We're going to have full coverage on Saturday on WSLS 10 at 6. We'll also have the very latest for you on our website, WSLS.com, and on the mobile news app.
A gorgeous but warm start to our day in Martinsville, really all over the area. Here is a live look in Martinsville with our new College Institute Skycam. Lots of sun out there. Like yesterday, we had those high clouds across the sky, just kind of filtering that sun a little bit, making for those great sunrises across the area. The sunshine again going to dominate, and that's going to lead to a lot of heat once again today. Temperature